Camilo.
Señor.
Hey, how are you doing, man?
Doing well, sir.
How's work, man?
Work is work.
That's good. That's good. Good to hear, man.
When do you start the new job?
On Monday.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep. It's Monday. I've been wrapping up in the other one, and yeah. So Monday it is.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fine. And I know some people that work there too. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it's you get to know some people, so that happens. So, oh, great, man. So the last one that we did we do?
We did procurement.
We did procurement. Okay. So we're missing stakeholder management. Okay, plan stakeholder management. 13. So we have page. Plan stakeholder management. No. Yeah, we did. We already did identify stakeholder. That's for initiating. So yeah, plan stakeholder management. So that's page. It's going to be page 399. So that's the last piece of planning. So okay. Have you been taking some tests, man?
No, lately, no. I've been slacking on the tests.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Let's try to get the rhythm back on that.
Yeah.
And you have. I re-signed you for the test, so you're good until December. But I would love if you can take that test before December. So we're already in October, so maybe let's aim for November. Try to wrap this up in October, so you can take your test in November. Are you gonna go with the CAPM?
Sure.
Okay. That you know what? That's a good approach, because it'll get you ready for the test and for the PMP, and you'll have 2 certifications rather quick. You do your CAPM, get a hang of it, and then do the PMP, if that's what you want to pursue. Well, that's a good approach, man.
Okay.
I think it's a good approach. Okay, so plan stakeholder management basically is developing the approach on how you're going to deal with your stakeholders, and what you're trying to do is to understand their needs, interests, and the potential impact regarding the project success. So this is the main purpose of this process, is to have a course of action on how to deal with the stakeholders to support their interest and regarding the project. So in this particular process, you kind of work on identifying and trying to understand how the project is going to affect the stakeholders, because that will determine their interests. And that way, because it's important, and this is very important, to understand that you want to keep them engaged. The more support that you have from your stakeholders, the chances of success are higher. So if you have a stakeholder, you have your stakeholders, the key stakeholders that believe in you, that are engaged with the project, things tend to move easier. So you work on something that they mentioned here, manage their expectations. That's key, managing that. When you and that refers to the fact that if you promise something, you have to deliver. at least when you promise something. I mean, if it's possible, and if it's not going to be the case, you have to be proactive enough to level the expectations with your stakeholders, so they can understand, so they know in advance if there's any changes. I mean, the more engaged you have them, and if they're close, if you keep them community, if you keep a good communication with them, and you manage properly their expectations, your chances of success are higher. When you don't have them engaged, when you don't have the stakeholders, they don't know what's going on. Then if something happens, it's going to be harder for you to get back on track and get their support. It's like that, building that relationship. That's one of the key aspects of project management, building the relationship. So this is one of the things that you really want to pay attention to and work with them. And it's a little bit more. It's not just communicating. It's more than that. And it's managing their expectations. It's building the relationships. And remember that your goal is to meet, their needs with the project. So it's a little bit more than just communicating. It's a little bit more than just managing a team. It's working on building the relationships between your team and the stakeholders, and so that way the project requirements are met and the goals of the project are achieved. So that's what you're trying to do with this. The inputs that we have for this process are the project management plan, the overall approach. Just going to have some elements in there that will describe the life cycle that was selected for the project, then the description on how the work is going to be executed, the human resource requirements that you have, the change management plan, and then some techniques for communication with the stakeholders. Then the second input is the stakeholder register, just a list of the stakeholders. Then your enterprise environmental factors, and specifically the organizational culture. That's something that is important. The structure, the political climate. So those are things that you got to keep into account. Then organizational process assets or some documentation. There might be some historical information that might be relevant for the project. Then you can use that to design the approach that you're going to use in regards to how to deal with the stakeholders. What are the tools that we use? The first one, expertise, or the glorified name that they use here, which is expert judgment. You want to make sure that you understand the level of engagement that is required for the key stakeholders. So, for example, at the beginning of the project, like they mentioned here, you want to make sure that, especially at the beginning, the senior stakeholders are engaged, actively engaged in the project. So if there's any obstacles that are or roadblocks that you might find, they're gonna be the ones that will help you to overcome those obstacles. So once you start in the actual design or the actual development work, then it gets a little bit easier. But usually at the beginning, that's when you need to have them. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna that you're not gonna keep a good communication with them. But it might change throughout time in the project, the level of communication. So that expertise is going to allow you how to design that approach that you will have to follow. That you'll have to follow in regards to the key stakeholders. Then, and this expertise can come from different sources, not just from the project manager, but also from SMEs, and even from external groups like industry groups or professional associations. Then you'll have a lot of meetings. That's how you meet with your experts, with your SMEs or part of the team that can help you how to define the levels of engagement that you need to have with all the stakeholders. Then some of the analytical techniques, and this is important. The importance of the analytical techniques is that you're going to have different types of stakeholders. So the and different engagement levels in regards to the stakeholders. So you're going to have some of the stakeholders are going to be unaware. Maybe they're unaware of the project and potential impacts. Some of them are going to be resistant. Not everybody's going to be on board with your project. Some of them might be resistant, and you need to figure out the best way to overcome that. Some of them are going to be neutral. They're neither supportive or resistant. Some of them are going to be supportive, and some of the stakeholders are going to be leading. They're actively engaged and maybe, besides the business sponsor, might be a business unit manager that will be actively engaged in making sure that the project is a success. So this is something that this is information that you're going to enter in a matrix. And there's an example on page 403. There's an example of a matrix with a stakeholder and basically if they are and what type of engagement level they have. So something that you do in a simple spreadsheet, you can do that. So you are ready, So make sure that you.
When you actually doing a project, do you actually go through this whole process?
At least you want to know. Yes, you should work on having your. You should know. You should have at the very least, your stakeholder register, and then you should have this matrix. This is going to help you. It's not mandatory to have, but it's recommended. So you know who's on board, who's not on board, at least the ones that you can identify. It's ideal because it's going to help you to see who's on your side, who's not, and who's neutral, and you have a list. I will look at it as an enhancement to the stakeholder register in real life. That's what I will do. But for the purposes of the test, make sure that you understand the different engagement levels of the stakeholders, the different types of the unaware, resistant, neutral, supportive, leading. So you make sure that you know the differences and the concepts. So that's what I would recommend. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. No, but I mean it more so in the whole aspect of, do you follow every single process of the PMBOK?
In real life, to tell you the truth, no. And the reason for that is time. This is a standard, and that's a great question. That's a great question. Let's take a step back and answer that question because it's important. Remember that the purpose of PMI is this is a body of knowledge. This is a project management body of knowledge. So the main goal that they have is to establish a standard for project management. Remember that the PMBOK was written by people that by project manager practitioners that belong to several industries. This is not just for IT, or it's not just for construction. This is not industry specific. The PMBOK is not industry specific. So this is basically the way things should be handled. The way this is an ideal. This is utopia. This is like in the perfect world. The idea should be to follow the whole 47 processes and 10 knowledge areas and stuff. But in reality, in real life, you don't use all of the processes. That's also related, or it's also related to the level of maturity that you have in the PMO. or even without a PMO, in the maturity level that you have a PM practices at your organization. So that also is going to have an important impact on how these processes are applied or not. But to tell you the truth, what I've seen for the most part, you don't apply all of them. Ideally, that's the ideal to apply all of this. But in reality, there's so many things going on at the same time that there's no time to follow all of this. But this is the way it should be done. This is the proper way of doing things. That's how you look at it. But applying them in real, that's why real life is a little bit different to what we have here. Well, this is the goal. This is the standard that we should that we should strive for. Let's put it that way. But this is utopia, man. I mean, this is not really that's the goal that we have. Is the vision that we have for the discipline. But as it stands right now, it's utopia. I mean, I haven't seen a place that applies 100% all of this. I mean,
The PMI.
yeah.
Okay, no, I was just wondering because I mean, am I really going to say, okay, this is how I'm going to handle the stakeholder, this is how I'm going to handle the procurement?
No, well, but you know what? You gotta take it with a grain of salt. You can always go back to the PIN book, and it will give you at least a reference and a strategy on how to deal with them. And it will be really. There's a lot of good things here. There's a lot of good information, and you can always refer to it. And yes, how am I going to deal with the stakeholders? Then they give you a strategy on what to do. So absolutely, you can always use it as a reference and go back to it and get a lot of situation. But for example, with a lot of things, especially with lessons learned and historical information and keeping all of that, I mean, we don't. That's one of the parts that gets that we should do. Excuse me, a better job.
Okay.
We don't have time. We're just working on so many things at the same time. Once you finish, you're already working on the next one, and so on. So that's one of the things that you actually leave behind. And there's so much documentation that you'll have to do here that it's really time consuming, and you don't have that time. So that's kind of. But it's definitely a good way when you're in a specific situation. How do I deal with this? Then you can always refer to this, and it will give you at least a starting point. And then but you always have to use it depends on the situation and the specific situation. But this is a good starting point at least. Okay.
Got it.
So, well, good question. That's a really good question. And let me tell you, that's the problem I have. You are actually at an advantage because that's the problem I have teaching people this class for people that have been doing project management for years. I have this person. This guy is a project manager. He's been a project manager for 15 years, and it's tough because with people like that, they know the ins and outs, but they don't have the certification, and now it's becoming a standard that they're required to have it. So for them to get them to detach from what they know with the methodology, it's challenging. And I always start by telling them, remember that you're going to be the test is designed to test your knowledge based on the PMI methodology. It's not based on your real life experience. There's a lot of times that you're going to disagree with this, but this is the PMI, and the PMP is based on the PMBOK. So that's how it works. You guys got to answer based on the PMI, not based on your experience, which is valid. But this is PMI, and then you have your real life experience. And what we're trying to achieve here, I'm not trying to. This is not going to make you. I'm not trying to teach you project management. You guys know project management already because you've been doing it for a long time. What we're trying to do here is learning the PMI way, which is what we're trying to accomplish. So that's really challenging. Now, I always gotta keep them in check with that because they're used to their ways. And usually people like that, I know good project managers. Paul is one of them. Paul has taken the test. I used to work with Paul at Florida Hospital. Paul has taken that test 4 times and hasn't been able to pass the test. I think he gave up on it. Taking the test 4 times.
Yep.
And why? Because he answers based on his experience, not based on the pinbook, and he's too stubborn to realize that. So, yep. And I remember when I took it, he told me, "Oh, it's a really hard test. I mean, most likely you're not going to pass it." I mean, and I told him, "Oh, I mean, my strategy is different from yours, so we'll see." And then, I was able to pass it the first time. This is a pass or fail test. It's not an A plus or B minus. No, it's a pass or fail. So you see, and then how did you do that? And well, you're answering the questions based on your experience, and that's not the way it is. so that's the problem that a lot of project managers that have been doing this for a long time have, and you don't have that problem, which is great.
Yeah.
To your advantage. Okay, so what do we get out of this? We get the plan stakeholder management. That's the output. So this is the overall strategy that this basically has the engagement levels of the key stakeholders, the scope and impact, the interrelationships and maybe an overlap. What is the requirements for communication? The information that is going to be distributed to stakeholders, and the format, the reason for that distribution, the time frame and frequency, and what are going to be the techniques to refine and update in the stakeholder management plan throughout the project. So that's all part of it. So that's you also want to make sure that since you're going to be, this is really delicate, so you really want to make sure that this information regarding the project and that you're going to send to some people is sensitive. So you want to be cognizant of the fact that you might be sending some sensitive information, especially when it comes to the budget or anything like that. So you might want to be, when you're sending information, you want to make sure that you understand who needs to get it and that you understand that some people might not need to have all the information regarding financials, for example. So you got to be very careful with that. And then some updates to some of the communication might come into place as well. So the project schedule might change, and your list of stakeholders or stakeholder register might change as well. So that's that for plan stakeholder management. So with that, we finish planning.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we move on to executing. Executing, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 processes. So we're getting there. The first one is
what pages?
Page. Yeah. Sorry about that. This is page 79. Which
What's
is
379?
No, 79.
Oh, 79.
Yeah. 4.3.
So you're saying bye-bye to Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
You don't like it there, right?
Not really. I mean, it's not. What I'm doing is just reports, and it's not.
I read that it was a controller position.
Yeah, it's not.
But as a contractor, did they pay okay?
Yeah, they do. That's the only thing, but it's really.
It's boring.
It's boring, and it's not.
You know how big IPPS is now?
What's that?
You know how big IPPS is?
No.
More than 20 people.
Really?
I was like, what the hell do you need that many people
What do you mean that many people?
You don't.
Wow.
I was like, these people are freaking doing nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's not a difficult job.
No, not really.
And they're paid. Marica, we pay $50 to $65 an hour for them.
Yeah, but they don't get paid that. That's their consulting company.
Yeah. That's what Royal pays.
They probably get
30.
35.
I mean, if I was to be there, and just to go with TapFin, I'll be making $40 an hour. Because TapFin charges only 19-20%. But I'm like, what the? They don't. It's not worth this. How much we pay for that is not worth it.
No. I was gonna say, do they have more projects now? I mean,
it's not a difficult job.
And what about the project managers? I mean, for software development, do they have more people now, or?
Guillermo's taking a big chunk of software development. Pascual se quedó con Horizon and risk management.
Oh, okay.
Which we have no idea. Nobody knows exactly what the heck they do. They are doing in risk management.
That they only had Idania doing that.
Yeah, I think it's only Idania still.
Yeah, but
and I'm like, there's no way she can cover every single project herself.
Well, she is, and she's doing that, and she's part time. I think she's not even.
No, they hired her. I don't know if they hired her full time or part time.
Oh, okay. So they hire her. Okay.
But then Guillermo has like 2 or 3 new PMs. Ese sí está más ocupado que un loco.
Sí, tiene bastante cosas. Huh?
Yeah, he has a lot of projects. And since all his team is new, he has to be involved in every single one, basically.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to talk to Guillermo for advice or something, how to become a PM, pero no, está muy ocupado.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because the other interest I had was New Build, and New Build is too, oh, I like you, you work for me. Oh, I like you. Oh, I don't like you.
Do you know anybody there?
I do, but a mí no me gusta eso. Like the reason Mary Peck hired me, she hired me because she knew I was good. I don't want to be hired just because I like you. Well, no me gusta eso, because then everybody's going to be like, oh, they hired him because of this. I'm like, no, because I can do my stuff.
Yeah.
Pero ahí donde estoy ahorita, I'm not going to do anything.
Oh, really? You feel already stuck in there? Or?
Yeah, I'm already stuck there. That's it.
No, you just gotta move to the. And what about the infrastructure? It's kind of weird, man.
I don't don't understand why their turnover is so high.
Who else left?
No, there's always new PMs on Dwight and David's team.
Oh, really?
Elencia left. I don't know if you knew her.
Yeah, Elencia Cole. Yep.
Yeah, she left. Not mad at her. She didn't say bye. I'm gonna find her on LinkedIn. Escribirle. Elencia. Who else? I don't know. I don't deal with David and Dwight that much. I only deal with David for TR.
Yeah, the TR projects. And
I don't even handle TR. My senior handles TR now.
Oh wow.
Oh, no, you were there when Crystal left, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was there. Yeah. I
don't know.
I was do the motorcycling stuff.
Sí. No, I was, because my other thing was be GBS, but GBS, I feel like eventually you'll get stuck too.
GBS is crap, man. Don't. Yeah, that's just because GBS is not really IT and it's not really the business. So
it's an intermediary.
It's a hybrid that but it's weird. Unless you have you'll get stuck. You're gonna get bored quick, man. The GBS people, I don't know. That's kind of weird what they have. And some of the managers are not good, man. So
no, I would work because I know Krista's very good to work with.
Who?
You worked with her. You worked with Krista, no? On one of your projects?
Kristen, what's her last name?
Wilson.
Oh yeah, she's great. I like Kristen.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome. And to work with her, yes, she's great. She has great
very organized,
people skills and organized, and she's very busy though. She's all over the place because she handles a lot. Well, she's one of the few people that I miss, man.
Krista's good to work with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that team, she has what's her name?
Karina.
Karina Ivy. Yes,
La
she's
Negrita.
great. Yeah.
They used to be coworkers.
Oh,
They
okay.
used to work together, and and Cece was doing CEM, and I would work with both of them, whatever they needed and stuff.
Yeah, Krista is good. Krista's
Alex
really
Martinez,
good.
you work with también, no?
Oh yeah, I work with Alex. He's a great guy. I
Alex
like
is-
Alex a lot. Yeah.
He's all over the place, so he gets confused. But I think he's a good manager too.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's a good guy, man. And he knows the call center stuff. Anything related to the call center, that's his forte. And
Yeah.
I was able to do a project for him. Yeah.
You did? No, which one did you? Triggerfinger was for him.
Yeah, I did. What was the name of the project?
Trigger, no? I go Trigger.
Confirmation trigger and confirmation trigger and yeah,
That one, no.
that one.
Oh, there's a few
From
good
beginning-
managers.
from beginning to end. Yeah,
Michelle Sampson, La China from New Build. You remember
that
her?
I don't know her.
She's now the manager for Celebrity. She reports to Nina now.
Oh, okay.
She applied and got it.
Oh, one time, speaking of Nina, one time when I left Royal, right? And like a week after, Nina called me on my cell phone. And I was like, what the hell? I mean, I don't work there anymore. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry and stuff. And blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, she called me on my cell phone. Why is she calling me on my cell phone? Man? That was so weird. Yeah, probably she needed a status on the project, but I'm like, I don't work there anymore.
You were doing a Celebrity project?
No, but you know what? I started a Celebrity project. Yeah, the casino.
Celebrity Casino. See.
Yeah, just started. That just started. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, that was really weird.
See that's the stakeholder that you would have neutral.
Well, yes. Yeah, well, that was really weird. That's really weird when she called me. I'm like, ooh, Nina calling me on my cell phone. Never done that. At that level. That was weird.
And you had her number?
No.
Oh, you answered and it was her.
Yeah, I answered it was her, like out of the blue. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? But she felt like, oh no, well, I'm sorry. Thank you for your service and thank you very much. Well,
Nobody told her.
No, I don't think so.
Wait, so how the hell did she get her number then? Oh, probably from the email.
From the email, yeah. From the email.
Wow.
But from an older email. I mean, not really.
Yeah. No, but ahí boy, I'm still.
No, just.
I need to get out of this one.
Pero diciéndote bien claro, con Beatriz no trabajes, brother. That's another GBS man. No. I wouldn't recommend it.
I thought you liked her.
At the beginning, but no, not really. No, after that, I saw some things, there's some backstabbing, weird backstabbing in there, and like, no. Y sí. Y la gente de ella tampoco es muy.
I don't like any of her people.
Who do you know?
I mean, not that I recognize them, pero la que parece buena gente, pero también puede ser falsa la Wendy Benson.
Todas son así, sí. Esa, la Christine también es falsa, bastante falsa. Y la otra, y el otro que tienen ahí.
Steven Saylor.
Sí, también, bro.
Lori la conocí, and I think she was always nice to me. Lori back.
I don't know.
Lori, una chiquitica. She's been there the longest.
I don't know her.
No, but her team was. I was like, eh.
No, be careful with those people, man. They threw me under the bus so many times, man, that it was not funny. And also Beatriz también. So, careful with them. Yeah. But no has tenido mucha interacción.
When I need something from her, she says it how it is. She says it how it is. So I like that about her. Because like they spent a certain amount of money and I'm the one that's eating it. And but she's like, no, but it belongs to China. And JP said, well, there's no more money. Sorry, sucks. And I was like, but that's not my problem. You spent the money that we didn't have.
Wow.
And Beatriz was like, no, this is part of China. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well. Pero bueno. No, but I don't like Royal PMO, pero it's a start.
Yeah. It could be a good start. I mean, it could be a good thing.
Because I met the director of the PMO for JM family.
Oh, really?
And she was very. I was talking to her, and then somebody. When we did the PMI dinner, I'm not the PMI lunch, whatever it's called. What was that called? Professional Development Day.
Oh yeah, did you get to go there?
Yeah, I did. I never met. I was sat next to her because they made us sit next to people we didn't know, and then one of them was Kathy Vasquez, and she's the. I just thought she was a normal PM or whatever, and then she hands me her card. I'm like, director. I was like, oh, hello. Nice to meet you. Very pretty lady.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, I would not. And I was telling her my issues, and she's like, well, from what you're telling me, it sounds like you don't give yourself enough credit and you undervaluing yourself. So and then she was trying to say that she tenía como esa cara, like I'm thinking where she would be able to put me. And I was like, okay. Pero después she gave me her card and I lost it y me jodí.
Look her up on LinkedIn, man.
I did, and I added her. Y no me lo aceptó.
¿No te lo aceptó o lo tiene bloqueado? ¿O no lo ha revisado?
I don't know, because I went to look a couple of weeks later. I tried adding her again, and it said I tried just going on her profile, and it said invite. And I was like, oh shit, she didn't accept me.
Oh wow.
I was like, well, that's a first. Everybody normally accepts me, even people I don't know. As long as I have a connection. So yeah, I guess you just must have deleted or something. Because she recognized me. She's like, if you want anything else, to just email me. And me pareció lo más chévere.
Oh wow.
Pero no, aquí en Royal, I just like it porque me queda 10 minutes. This is a beneficio.
Yeah, no, for a while, but yeah, it's not to stay there forever, you know.
Sí.
Yeah. All right.
Listo.
So, page 79. So we can do direct and manage project work. So this is basically when you get into execution, and you start managing and leading the work that was defined in the project management plan, the overall strategy, and basically you start implementing any changes that were approved. So this is the overall. What you get out of this is that it gives you the overall management for the project work. This is where you're managing everybody on their doing. So the things that you cover here is to perform the tasks or activities to accomplish the project objectives. You start creating the project deliverables that are going to meet the planned project work. And then you provide, train, and manage the team members. And you also, this is where you obtain and get your resource, the resources that are needed, including materials, tools, equipment, and facilities.
Yeah.
You also apply any. What's that?
Can we take a quick break? I really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's take 10 minutes.
Era a las 8.
A las 8, okay.
Listo.
Seguro. All right. Hello. Hello. Camilo.
Hello.
Camilo.
Sorry about that.
No, no, no problem.
Comí mucho.
No, no, that's fine.
Okay.
All right. Alrighty. So basically, what you do as a project manager with direct and project manage project work, making sure that the things that need to be done to complete the tasks are being done, and you're managing your team basically, and you're collecting data, and you're making sure that if there's any you're reviewing the work and how, if there's any changes that have been approved, the way these changes are being implemented, and the way you can apply either a corrective action, CA, which is something that is intentional, that is going to realign the performance of the project with what you're trying to accomplish in the project management plan. Then a preventive action. This is something that you do, is an intentional activity that you do to ensure that future project performance is not going to be aligned with the project management plan. So corrective action is after the fact. So it means that after that you see the performance is not up to par, then you're trying to realign it. And then preventive is actually it's before the fact. So it's something that you try to do to prevent the future performance to not to be aligned, to prevent future performance to be misaligned from the project management plan. And then a defect repair, it's basically something that you do to modify a product that is non-conforming to make sure that it meets the standards that you have. So it's in a defect. Okay, so what are the inputs? Then the first one is the overall project management plan. It touches several areas in scope, requirements, schedule, cost, and stakeholder management. So those are the things some of the subsidiary plans that are important. Then the approved change requests. These are the ones that went through the change request, that went through the change control process and were approved. And these changes could be either a corrective action, a preventative action, or a defect repair. So these are, once they're approved, the change requests, they're going to be scheduled and implemented by the project team, and are going to be part of the work that they're doing besides the actual work of the project. So these changes can also modify the policies, the actual project management plan, procedures, costs, or budgets, or how to revise the schedule. So approved changes requests may require either implementation of preventive or corrective actions. Then the next inputs are the first one. The next one is the enterprise environmental factors, the organizational culture, infrastructure, personnel administration. What are the stakeholder risk tolerances? For example, in regards to cost overrun, the project management information system, Microsoft project in this case. And then the documentation or organizational process assets, any guidelines that you have on work instructions, any communication requirements, issue and defect management procedures, any process measurement databases used, project files from previous projects, and issue and defect management databases. So what are the tools and techniques that we use? The first one is expertise. So you go whether internally to your team and how to to the SMEs to make sure that you're measuring and assessing all the inputs that are needed to manage and the execution of the project management plan. Then you can also get expertise from other units within the organization. You can you can also get external consultants. You can also get this expertise from stakeholders and even from outside professional and technical associations. Other next tool and technique that we use is the project management information system. This is part of the enterprise environmental factors, and it can give you access to a scheduling tool, a work authorization system. So like we can work in conjunction, for example, with Microsoft Project, and then Clarity, for example, and then any other systems that we have in place. And this is going to be key in providing, reporting some of the KPIs or the key performance indicators that are part of the system. Then you're going to have a lot of meetings. There's in some of them you'll be exchanging information. Then you can apply some of the group nominal techniques like brainstorming, option evaluation, and also there's going to be some other meetings with in which you need to have some decision making. The best way always for a meeting is to have a well-defined agenda, the purpose of the meeting, and then ideally the most effective meetings are face-to-face, and also it's important to be able to gather meeting minutes and keep that for the future, for reference, and also to document any decisions that were made. So that's how you can get the most out of your meetings. Having an agenda, you should be able to document the meeting minutes and action items, and always and trying to, if possible, to have face-to-face meetings, or at least using video conference, and try to have a little bit more interaction just than a regular conference call. But in many cases, that's going to be the way that you're going to have. Excuse me. The way that you're going to have to handle those meetings, through a conference call. Depends on the culture of the organization too.
Mm-hmm.
Then the outputs. What do you get? The deliverables. The number one output is the deliverables, which is something. It's a unique and verifiable product that is going to have. That's going to be able to perform a service that is required to produce to complete a process, phase, or project. So they're usually tied up to a requirement. And a deliverable is what is going to meet the requirement that you originally had in the project. So they're tangible. You can measure them, and you can definitely track them. So they're tangible components of the work. Then the next output is work performance data. These are the raw data that you get, the observations and measurements during activities or tasks that are being performed when you do the work. So this is probably the lowest level of detail that you have. So, for example, you get what is the percentage of work that has been completed? What is the KPI, the key performance indicators? What are the start and finish dates of scheduled activities? The number of change requests, the number of defects, actual cost, actual duration. So that's raw data that you're getting from doing the work. Then the change requests. So you might get another output. It's going to be change requests. So it's basically a change request is a formal proposal to change either a document, a deliverable, or a baseline. So if it's approved, remember the change request has to go through a change control board process to get it either approved or rejected. If it's approved, then it will replace that change request will replace the associated document, deliverable, or baseline. Excuse me, and it will update any other parts that are related from the project management plan. So this is usually done when the issues are found. So then you submit the change request and this is going to have an impact in regards to the project's the scope, the cost, and the schedule, and quality as well. It's going to touch. Usually they touch the triple constraints. So you gotta. Those are the impacts that you gotta measure. They can be direct or indirect, externally or externally initiated, and they can be optional or legally or contractually mandated. And they usually include a corrective action, preventive action, defect repair, and updates. Okay, so make sure that you really that's on page 85. If I were you, I will highlight that definition for change request on what it is. It's a formal proposal, because that's usually a question that comes up in the test. So
Only
you can-
proposals to modify.
yeah, correct. So those are and then you have some project management plan updates to the subsidiary plans of the project management, and then updates to some of the documentation. Okay. So that's it for that for direct and manage project work. Now, yeah, go ahead. Questions?
But what about change requests when adding an additional requirement? Does that still fall under the same?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that'll fall under the same, but it'll be evaluated. So what's going to happen is it's going to be evaluated by the change control board, and you're going to the change control board is going to determine, well, this is the impact. I mean, you can make the analysis as the project manager. Okay, we can incorporate this change. We can add this requirement, but this is the cost associated with it, and this is a timeline impact. So it's going to push my timeline instead of being. My goal is our delivery date is October 15th, and now with this additional requirement, if we approve this change, then it's going to push the timeline to November 15th. So, and the cost associated with it is, I don't know, 40K. So if it's approved, then everybody says yes, then you go ahead and you change your timeline to November 15th. Then you have to see if you have funding for those 40K, and if not, and you should actually mention that. You should know how much you have left in your budget, and without having to request for additional funding for those 40K. So where's that coming from? This is what it's going to cost. And let's say if you have that or more, then that it's not going to be a problem. But if you don't, then where's the money going to be coming from? So those are the things that you got to measure. But you can definitely do a new requirement that's usually the impact.
Okay.
So, and those are the decisions. I mean, you should do the analysis, but you don't make the decision. That will be your sponsor and whomever is part of the change control board. Any other questions? That was a good question. Any other questions? No. All right. So let's jump to quality. So we go to process 8.2, and that's going to be on page. We are going to work on perform quality assurance. So,
what page?
This is page 242.
Okay.
So, on page 242. So QA is basically an audit that you perform to the quality requirements and the results for quality control measurements to make sure that the appropriate quality standards and operational definitions are used. Basically, it's a way that you're making sure that the quality standards are up to par. That's what you're doing. So the benefit of it is that it facilitates the improvement of quality processes. This is the quality. The QA process involves a plan and systematic processes defined within the project quality management plan, and basically what it tries to accomplish is to build confidence that the output or an unfinished output of the work in progress is going to be completed in a way that it meets the specified requirements and expectations. So basically, it contributes to a state of being certain that the quality by preventing defects. I mean, you're trying to avoid defects are after the fact. So with QA, what you're trying to do is to avoid having that many defects. You know? It's a safety net, another net of protection. Because usually, if we're talking about a software development project, for example, when the developers do their work, they also do testing.
Mhm.
There's something that is.
They
What's
see
that?
that their piece works.
Yes, and in some cases they may even have what is called a peer review. So other, meaning that other developers might review their work. That's in some teams work that way. That another developer reviews the work of a different developer. That's a safety net that they have. But then you have your QA in place. That's after they finish their work. This is another. You have your quality standards already set up. So the QA people through using testers for this particular matter, they're going to make sure that your the work that is being done is up to par in regards to the quality standards that you have, that you're going to try to avoid defects. I mean, there's always going to be defects. You're going to try to avoid the number of defects, and the way of doing that is through proper testing with the QA, applying the QA processes. So that's why you do. That's why you perform QA processes, and it's basically this is in the case specific of project management, prevention and inspection aspects of QA. They should have a demonstrable. You should be able to demonstrate their influence on the project, because quality assurance work is going to fall in the conformance work category in the custom quality framework. So usually there's going to be a QA department that handles the QA activities, and it can be provided to the project team, the management, the performance organization, the customer, the sponsor, as well as other stakeholders that are not actively involved in the work of the project. They're the ones that can run or provide support for QA. Usually there's a QA department. Some places they don't have a QA department. Some others do. So, and it's basically an umbrella, a safety net to make sure that you do the proper testing and things don't fall through the cracks before you deliver. And then you try to avoid to minimize the number of defects that you're going to have. It's an iterative process. I mean, it's not, it goes through several it should go through several iterations, and that it also the goal should be to operate at levels that increase levels of efficiency and effectiveness in regards to the testing. So that's what it does. The inputs that we have is the first one is a quality management plan, which is the approach in regards to quality. And it's going to describe the quality assurance and continuous process improvement approaches. Then your process improvement plan. These are the activities that should be supportive and consistent with the performance organization process improvement plans that they might have in place. Then the quality metrics, how to measure. What are the attributes that need to be measured in regards to quality? Then the quality control measurements. These are the result of control quality activities. So this is data that is used to analyze and evaluate the quality of the processes against the standards of the performing organization or the requirements specified. Then you have some project documents, like might have some impact in regards to the quality assurance work. So what are the tools and techniques that we use? The first one is affinity diagrams. These are quality management and control tools. You're going to be using quality QC tools. The first one, affinity diagrams. It's like a mind mapping technique that is used to generate ideas to that can be linked, that can be put together to organize patterns of thought about a particular problem. So in the specific case of project management, the creation of a work breakdown structure, you may be able to enhance it by using an affinity diagram to give structure to the decomposition of the scope. Just basically putting things together that are similar. That's what it is. So following certain logic.
So affinity is like a org chart, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you have on page 246.
That's
you
what
can
I'm
look
looking.
at. Yeah, pretty much.
Because they all basically look like org charts. Just
They
different,
do. They do.
just
It's
different
ways.
different flow.
Different flow, correct. Then the process decision program charts. It's used to understand a goal in relation to the steps and getting the goal. It's a method for contingency planning, and it helps teams in anticipating. Yeah.
And that also kind of looks. Never mind.
Yeah, you're basically breaking down stuff. Yeah, and you decompose, and what are the steps that you're trying to follow to anticipate and look at things before they happen. So that's kind of what you do, process decision. Then in interrelation diagrams, it's a little bit different. It's just different relationships, and it gives you. This is creative problem solving that you kind of break down the scenario with the different possibilities, and then you can do logical relationships. So that's why you have so many different arrows. Then tree diagrams. This is just the WBS is. This is basically what it is. A tree diagram. That will be the best example for a tree diagram. Then you have your prioritization matrices, activity network diagrams, or network diagram, and then a matrix diagram. So those are the tools. Another tool that you use is quality audits. You basically try to make sure that all good and best practices are being implemented. You identified your non-conformity, any gaps or any shortcomings, and if there's any good practices from similar projects, and you try to make sure that these are applied. And then you try to you have to be proactive in the way you implement the processes to help the team raise productivity, and you actually highlight contributions of the audits in regards to lessons learned and put them in the repository of the organization. So it is this is important. The effort that you apply when it comes to quality audits, this is going to reduce the cost of quality, because it's if you try to fix a defect, it is a statistically proven fact that if you do it before, during, the earlier you're able to solve a problem and to correct any deficiency, the earlier you do it in the process is cheaper and that's the cost of quality. If you do it after the fact, that you do it as a defect repair, the cost increases exponentially. So that's why it's important to if you find any deficiencies, they have to be corrected at this particular time before you go live. or before the solution is delivered, because otherwise the cost of quality is going to increase dramatically, exponentially, actually. So there is a relationship. I think something that when you're doing, if you find a deficiency when you're developing, the cost, let's say that you determine that it's going to cost you $20, but if you let that go, and if you don't fix that deficiency at that particular point, and you let it, you just don't do anything, and you go ahead and deliver the solution, and then it's reported as a defect, those $20 they become in 20,000 or 10,000 at least. It can actually happen. So it grows exponentially. What you're going to pay $20 to fix that, then after the fact it grew exponentially to something, to 2,000 or 1,000 or even more than that. So it grows really exponentially, and that's a proven fact. So that's why it's important to keep in mind that if any deficiencies are found in the quality audits, these are addressed in a proactive manner. Then your process analysis. It follows the steps in the process improvement plan to identify any improvements that are needed, and this takes into account problems experience, constraints experience, and non-value-added activities that were identified. And what did you get? More change requests. So any change requests are going to be used to change the perform and integrate change control process, to allow consideration of the recommended improvements. Then you also get project management plan updates. Specifically, most likely will be the quality management plan, scope, schedule, and cost management plans. Then some of the documentation might need to be updated, your quality audit reports, your training plans, and your process documentation. And last but not least, documentation in general, in the form of organizational process assets that might need to be updated as part of this process. So that's it for perform quality assurance. Okay. So the next process that we have is going to be acquire project team. And that's going to be on page any questions?
No. Good.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, quick one.
Sure.
So in your projects, how do you track your defects? Just what's based in QC?
Well, there is, in Royal, they use something that is called ALM, that is an HP product. And that basically is where all the testers have to enter. This is the way it goes. Let me start with the flow. That's a really good question. The way it works is that ideally, once you finish in regards to the flow of the project, once the BRD is done, the business requirements document is done, your BAs should start working on the test scripts and start working with the QA tester that is going to be working on the solution, so they can understand the requirements, and based on that they can start working on the different scenarios, and those scenarios are going to be the testers that you gotta run once the solution is developed, right? So those testers, when those test scripts are going to be ready, and when you get to the point of the solution that your development, you have enough output to be tested from development, then your testers are going to have access to a system or a tool that is going to allow them to track defects. One of the most common ones is ALM, is from HP. That's what they use at Royal, as a matter of fact. So they log in there, and they can enter a defect with the description. Of course, it's going to have a number associated with it, and they are going to be updating the status, and that's going to be assigned. It's a ticket. It's basically a defect that is going to be assigned to a developer, and the developer has to work on solving that defect. And then then the tester, and everybody has access to that. You as a project manager, you can look at it. Of course, the testers, and then of course the developers. So usually, what you have when you're at that point, you're going to have probably twice a week. That would be a good frequency, or even more, but at least twice a week. You're going to be working. You're going to be having a meeting, a half an hour meeting. So you go over all the defects. It's a QA meeting that you have with the testers and the developers. So you go over the status of the defects. Okay, defect 1001, defect 1002. What is the status? And you get the status on what they're doing, what they're working on, and then you close them as you go. And you can even let the QA person. You don't have to leave that meeting. You're just there making sure that it's done. But the QA lead is going to be the one updating the information and providing the status and making sure that it's being addressed. But that's how you track it. You use a tracking tool for defects, but you as a project manager make sure that those QA meetings happen and make sure that those defects are addressed and closed. That's what you're trying to do. And you're going to have different severities too. I mean, some of them are showstoppers or high severity. Some of them are the impact. So some of them are showstoppers or high impact. Some of them are medium impact, and some of them are low impact. So sometimes you can go live with low impacts, and then they can be addressed at a later time. But that's something that you have to make sure that your sponsor is aligned with that and provide input in that regard. So, but that's kind of how you track it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good question. So let's go to page. Definitely not planning. Okay, acquire project team. And this is, again, part of the human resource management. This is basically the human resource management knowledge area. So this is where you try to this is where you confirm that the resources that you need are available, the human resources that you need are available, and the resources that you need to complete the work activities are available. And you get the approval from their resource managers. So they are available to do the project work. So basically, this is where you outline and guide the team selection and the responsibility assignment, so you can obtain a successful team. Okay, when you get them. So this is an important aspect that you need to keep in mind, is that most likely you might not have, as a project manager, in most cases you're not going to have direct control over the team unless it's a totally projectized organization, or in some cases they're subcontractors, and so most likely you're going to have to negotiate with a resource manager or functional manager. So you have to negotiate with those functional resource managers for you to get the required human resources for your project. If you fail to get the necessary human resources, you're putting your project at risk. So this can affect your schedule, your budget, your customer satisfaction, your quality and risk. And if you have insufficient human resources, they decrease your probability of success. And this could result in project cancellation. So this happens, is the negotiation process that happens with these functional managers and resource managers. If the human resource is not available due to constraints, such as economic factors or previous assignments to the project, the project manager may be required to assign an alternative resource, maybe with lower competencies, but as long as this is not a violation of any legal agreements. But this is also something that you need to keep in mind, and then it will, again, if you get someone with a lower, let's say that you wanted a senior developer, but then they give you someone that is a beginner, then that's definitely something that needs to be noted, at least in your risk register. You might put your project at risk. So it's something that you want to keep in mind. What are the inputs that we have? The first one is the approach in regards to human resources, the human resource management plan. So this has the roles and responsibilities, the organizational project charts, or the organizational charts, and then the staffing management plan. So that's important to know, so you know exactly who you need and what are their roles and what are the responsibilities that they have. Then enterprise environmental factor, any existing information in regards to human resources, organizational structure, and co-location or multiple locations. You need to know that. Documentation, organizational process assets, any standards, any policies, procedures. The tools and techniques that we use for this is pre-assignment, the number one, when the team members are selected in advance, which is usually the case. So when that happens, this is called pre-assignment. And then another technique that is used is negotiation. You have to work. The project management team has to negotiate with functional managers, so to ensure that the project receives the appropriate level of competent staff that is required during the time frame that you have, and they're going to be authorized to work on the project until their work is completed. Then maybe other project management teams, because the resources might be working on different teams, so you have to negotiate with those other project management teams. And perhaps if you have vendors working for you, there might be some external organizations, vendors, suppliers, contractors, etc., that might be needed. So, and this is also another, if you're dealing with external staff like that, there might be also some legal and contractual guidelines and policies and processes in place that need to be taken into account as well. So the project management team's ability to influence others, it's going to also play an important role when it comes to negotiating the assignments. And this has a lot to do with the politics. So then again, well, like I was saying before, a key aspect of project management, I'll always try to keep that in mind, is building that relationship with the managers, building that relationship with the stakeholder, building the relationship, more importantly, with the team. Ultimately, they're the ones doing the work. So it's a big part of getting involved and building that relationship with the team. Acquisition, another technique. When the performing organization is not able to provide the staff, you might need to get it from somewhere else. like they do at Royal with TAPFIN and getting from the different consulting agencies. Then virtual teams. You might have people working in different locations, and you have that are in different geographical areas. So a way that is very common nowadays is to work with virtual teams. Maybe you have people that work from home, people that work from different shifts, hours, and days. This is a great advantage, but it also comes with challenges as well. So there might be different. There might be a possibility of misunderstanding, difficulty sharing knowledge. So communication planning is really important when it comes to a virtual team environment. So, which is it's a major challenge, but that's key. And then you also have some analysis in regards to a multi-criteria decision in regards specifically to availability, whether a team member is available to work on the project within the time period that is needed. Then the cost, if it's within the budget. Then the experience, if the team member has the relevant experience that is needed. And the ability, making sure that they have the competencies that are required. Also the knowledge, the skills, the attitude, and then international factors if applies. So, then what do you get? The outputs. You get your project staff assignments. The project is going to be staffed with appropriate resources, and the right people is going to be part of your team. Then you also get your resource calendars. So basically, this is important because you need to know when they're going to be available to work, when are they going to be on vacation. So you need to understand the team members' availability to prevent any constraints in regards to schedule, to be proactive and to understand the constraints and be able to cover them. And last but not least, you have your project management plan updates. That maybe the resource management plan is going to change and needs to be updated with the staffing requirements that are outlined in the human resource management plan. So that's that for that one. And that covers acquired project management. So you want to leave it up to here? Camilo,
Yes.
are you awake?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh, sorry, man. So you want to leave it up to here, or
Sí, porque falta en esta sección.
te faltan dos más de human resource, and then nos faltan tres más. I was going to ask you, are you going to have some time on Saturday morning by any chance?
Saturday morning. No sé, porque de pronto me voy para Newport.
Oh, okay.
Domingo por la noche, ¿no puedes?
El domingo por la noche, ¿por a qué hora?
O sea, like 7 or 8.
I think I could do like 6, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hablamos el sábado y miramos a qué hora.
Okay.
Decirme así.
Okay. And then if not, we'll do Monday. I really want to do either Sunday or Monday.
Okay, we'll do Monday. Si no, we'll do Monday. Listo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Bueno,
get this going. All right, man. We're almost there. So take some of the tests, man.
Sí, no. This weekend I have to take tests.
Take the test, and because I was checking and I noticed that you haven't taken the test in a while. So take some of the tests. Let me know if you have any questions, but we're getting there. We're almost there.
Okay, mano.
Almost there. All righty, man. So let me know if you have any questions or anything, and we'll go from there.
Listo, señor.
Gracias, señor.
Nos vemos Sunday, ojalá.
Sunday, ojalá. All right.
Listo.
All right. Good night, man.
Night, bro.
Bye.